to San Antonio and won. So that's the first thing you need to know. They went to San Antonio and won, did something we didn't do. They played a lot of people close. They've lost some games. Middle Tennessee only beat them 4 points. Again, they've been in a lot of close games. They're a veteran team. They've got like 6 seniors, 5 seniors out of their top 8 guys. They got a big guy, a big 7-foot guy who can really score the basketball, averaging about 13 a game. He's not a what you call a power player. He'd rather face up and make jump shots, but he's a load. He can just turn and shoot over top of you. They got a couple really good guards that can shoot the ball. So like every other team, you got to be ready to play. That's the most important thing. And I'm just concerned about making sure our team is ready versus who we're playing. But they are a very good basketball team.
You expect them to have the same game plan San Antonio did, pack it in the middle, make you guys make shots?
Brad, who knows? Again, I'll come back to this. Making shots is always a part of it. But when those engines are running, you're playing with the right energy and toughness, you can overcome not making some shots. And that's our biggest thing, is making sure we're playing at that level of energy that we got to play with, and, let everything else fall where it falls. If you're asking me, will it help if we can make some shots? Absolutely, it will help if we can make some shots, for sure. I don't know if you can just constantly, back off some guys like you backed off down there against us. Have you seen, we've had times, if you'd said, Darius is not going to make a shot, you'd say just keep shooting it. Same way with Jake. We all have confidence in those guys making shots. So, again, I'm not as concerned about making shots as I am, us playing at the level of energy that we got to play with. And that will help overcome a lot of things if you're not making shots. But when you're not playing at that level and you don't make shots, you know what that recipe is. You witnessed that recipe.
Are you expected to have Tavion?
Good question again. That's 3 questions, 2 of the best ones been asked. You guys didn't ask that question yet. Don't have the answer for that for sure. I'll know more later on today. As I said, his nose was broke. We're getting a face mask for it. Don't have it yet. That will be based on if he can practice based on face mask, if it comes in time today. Far as him mentally, yes, he'll be ready to go mentally. He wants to go, but at this point, he's not able to do anything. And hopefully we can get a face mask today to see if he can practice and let him get used to it some and see how it goes from there. But hopefully so.
Are y'all tracking this order through the mail and making sure it gets here and down to the minute?
We're on top of it. They're on top of it. So we were told it'd be here today by practice time. So we will see.
I think I saw somebody had a really intense practice either yesterday or Monday.
Well, we couldn't practice Monday.
Tuesday.
The NCAA rules, we had to give them a day off because we traveled back Sunday. That's a nice rule. This is the first year it's been in effect. It's a horrible rule.
One of your new favorite?
Well, it was horrible, especially the timing of it. You guys know this, and I've said this for 2 months. We haven't been able to practice the right way for a long time because of the circumstances. I've been saying this to my coaches. When you can't practice the right way, it carries over to the games. What I mean the right way, when you got 7 guys that can play, it carries over. And it's carried over all year long for us a little bit now. Because I've always said practice has got to be a lot harder than the games. Games got to be easy. For the first time, because of our situation, that's not the way it's been for us. We get 2 more bodies 2.5 weeks ago. Now you're in January, starting February, it's really still hard to really change it because you're still dependent on those guys that you've had while you're trying to work some guys in. As I told my staff, we talked about it. If I had to do over again, I'd do the same thing, unfortunately, just to make sure we had 7 guys get on the bus that are playing versus 5 or 6 because those guys are playing so many minutes. But it carries over to the court eventually. Well, after the performance we had Saturday, then you've got to shake some things. You just got to shake some things. And we were still without Justin and without Tavion yesterday. Justin had his injection in his knee, so he was out. But the other, what have we had? We practiced, and it was good. I felt better at least. So.
Rick,
Yes, sir.
I was kind of waiting for the right time to ask this, and it's late in the season, but I've really been impressed with your 2 new assistant coaches, Mark and Nikita, and I wanted to get your feelings on them, and the fact that I know they're hard, they seem like hard workers, but the fact also that, they've been doing this without the third full-time assistant, and again, just when I cross paths with them, they're hard working, they're personable, and I guess just how pleased have you been with them?
Well, first off, you say third full-time assistant, another body. I can promise you everybody back here is full-time for the amount of hours they put in. There's no part-time nowhere. That's Talvis and, Martin. Those guys are overtime every day. Just so happens, you allow 3 full-time guys on the court. Well, again, Shoe's role, and it's a role he loves. And to be good at something, you got to love it. You got to love it. And he loves it. Recruiting. He's a grinder, 24/7. I mean, absolutely 24/7. That's what he does. I'm sure he falls asleep with his cell phone, wakes up with it, and you're getting texts from him at all hours of the night. He maybe texts me at 3 o'clock in the morning with something. I mean, that's what he does. That's who he is, and that's what he's really good at. And he's a great person. And that's the thing these guys all have in common. Nikita's a guy that I've known forever and ever when he was assistant coach at Chipola years ago. They're good people, number one, and they're hard workers. And again, the ability to work hard overcomes a lot of things. Those guys there's great togetherness on that staff. Those guys all get along good, and that's important. I've been a part of staffs, where you got one guy, don't like this guy, da-da-da-da. It's never good. Workplace, you guys have that. Y'all have it right now. It's never, it's not as good as it can be when everybody you feel like is on the same page. Unless all you guys get along great. Y'all don't have that problem, huh? No problems, okay. Nobody in here has that problem, that's good. Your bosses like to hear it at least. So, these guys all get along very well, and they're good people. Good people, loyal, hard workers, and those are great traits to have.
Speaking of recruiting, you got Delano Banton in this weekend. How nice would it be for fans to go check him out?
He's a high skill level guy. Got a great skill level with a great mentality. We've signed him, so we can talk about him. High skill level, physically and mentally. Naturally, he's got to get stronger, like all young guys get tougher. But he has a high ceiling, a lot of upside. From a guy that really hadn't had a lot of consistent, probably coaching may not be the right word, but structure and toughness through his whole career. That's why his upside's even, greater. I think you get him in a program. He's got a good weight program. He's going to be, has a good meal plan every day and some good structure. With his abilities physically and mentally, I think he's got a tremendous high ceiling, really pass that basketball. Got a great feel how to play.
Justin Johnson said that he'd be lying if he didn't look at bracketology to see where they're projecting you guys. Do you look at any of that?
Honey, I learned a long time ago. You worry about the one thing that you can control. What is that?
The game ahead of you?
Winning. That's it. Next game, all that stuff takes its own shape. Back in my younger days, you follow that stuff and follow it and watch it and wonder why you were the last 4 out when you just beat the team that was first 4 in. But I've learned to worry. You can't worry about things you can't control. Just play games. And I know that it's easier said than done for youngsters, but that's all you can control. Winning takes care of all that.
Rick, to follow up on what Lindsay mentioned about Justin. You take over, and obviously he's a returning player. And this year, he has to adjust to so many new players, and not only that, guys who have skills. And you've been around the game, I've been around the game, and you see guys that if they are not center stage like they were before, they can pout and a lot of times be a problem. And in fact, he's just the opposite. He's embraced it. And he seems to have embraced everything that you've brought. Just how much respect you have for Justin and what he's done?
Well, first off, I think for the first time in his career, he's embraced having really good teammates around him that are good players that in turn helps him win. And am I wrong to say that? I'm talking about a team that he enjoys being around the people. He enjoys every one of our guys because we have good people. And I could probably say, you can ask Tim this question, maybe the first time in his career, which I know he's told me many times. It's the first time that, the people he's around every day, he enjoys them. And that's where it starts at. If you don't enjoy the workplace, if you don't enjoy the people you're around every day going to work, it's miserable for everybody. So he's got that part of it. That's number one. Number two, he's on a team that has success. And number three, he's been, Justin's just he's a good person. He comes from a good family, mother and father. He's been raised the right way. He's got some, he's people smart. He understands situations. But at the end of the day, Justin's got a good heart, and he's good people, and he's a great teammate. And, those kind of things will help him after basketball and in life.
Rick, along the lines with Justin and Dwight, early in the season, I could tell for post guys they passed well, but it seemed like their passing skills. I think of the pass in the Purdue game that Justin made to Jake. But I'll tell you what, the games I watched in college basketball, I put your passing skills of your post players up there with anybody.
Well, I'll say this. Imagine this. I talked to Dwight about this. Dwight now has gotten double teamed. He went from never having the ball thrown to him. Now, for the first time in his life, he saw his first double team of his life at UTEP. Go back and check that stat. Whoever double teamed him before. UTEP double teamed him. That's respect. That's where his game has come from. Justin's been seeing that double for a while. When you're on a team, probably through his career, where there's not a lot of other really, options out there, they're going to try to take away that best option. Well, I think this year's team, people haven't doubled him as much because there's other options out there. He still sees that double team. And, as you go through your haul of your schedule, your ability to make some shots will determine what some other people do defensively. I think he's probably, we haven't shot it great of late, and probably people have a little more tendency, if I was going to play us, to scout what your strengths are. And Justin's one of our strengths. And they've rolled the dice a little bit by doubling him, but he has all the ability in the world to make you pay now off that pass too. We'll get open shots off that double team. And we've gotten open shots off his double team. We just got to, make some.
Coach, what kind of response are you looking to see out of your players, especially after playing one of their sports teams?
I just want us to come out and play, as we spoke about. There hadn't been but 2 games I've walked off the court into the locker room. I didn't feel like that we didn't leave everything on the floor that we had. And we got out toughed and we got out worked. There's been 2 games like that. I haven't walked in the locker room, don't think that we didn't play great. Missed some shots, threw it away some, but I never questioned the effort. And as a coach, that's the worst thing you hate. I had that taste Saturday. That taste Saturday was Ohio U. Those are 2 games. I didn't feel like that we brought it. I want us to play with energy and effort. Hey, effort's one of the greatest abilities you can have. And that overcomes a lot of things. That will overcome some lack of shooting. because that means that the other team ain't getting as many offensive putbacks. We're getting more. We're getting more stops defensively. We get out in transition. If it all comes down to lack of effort making shots, those are bad. That's a bad combination. You better win one of those two for sure. We didn't win neither one of those on Saturday. So I just want to get us back playing the way we played for the most part all year long.
Did you go back and watch some film of earlier games this season to see if you could get that going again?
Yeah, you do. You go back and see. And again, listen, as a coach, I'm not one that, I understand things happen. That's just part of it. None of us like it. I don't know if you can look around a team in college basketball and see where it doesn't happen. None of us like it. Going through a 30-game season, whatever it is, there's going to be, if you only have one or two games, you're probably pretty lucky sometimes, unless you got a lot of talent to overcome it. That's why people ask, and you guys all ask, how does Duke go to St. John's and get beat by an 0-11, 12 team? How's that happen? I promise you, they don't like it and didn't plan for it. We as coaches, it's very obvious I didn't do a very good job getting them to understand how good San Antonio was. I promise you, I sensed it. I sensed it within our team, and we tried. Unfortunately, youngsters, young men, 18 to 21 years old, mentally they don't see things always the way we see things. And when you're going through 30-some games, it's hard mentally to be right there every game, even though you want to be. You want to be. As a coach, that's the thing you want. You want to stay out of the valley and stay off the peak. You want to be that way every game. It's hard. It's hard. We picked a bad time not to do it. But answer your question, I forget what it was. I'm rattling on, but
I think I heard or saw you went back and watched the Purdue game or some other.
Yeah, I did. I watched some games. We went and watched some games. Obviously, when you go through a season, mentally, you're not at that peak every minute. If you're asking me Saturday, if it had been a different name on that uniform that we were playing, how would we have approached it? I don't know for sure, but it would have been better in the way we approached it for sure. Sometimes, the opponent you're playing, unfortunately, players look at them differently. You don't like it as a coach because everybody's capable of beating anybody on the road nowadays. There's no easy games on the road. I don't care where you go. And again, this team just beat UAB now. Just beat Marshall the night before. So it wasn't like went to Oklahoma and got beat 7. So it's not like they weren't a team 0-12, hadn't beaten nobody. They had beaten some people. But we never did, just felt like the whole game that, we kept waiting for us to turn it on to find a way to win. But to answer your question, did go back and watch games, seeing why we were able to do some things differently. And we got to get, I got to sprinkle, when things, getting beat's one thing, getting beat the way we got beat, I got to shake up some things, okay? Getting beat's one thing. I'm not one of those that panic or make lots of changes, but when you get beat the way we got beat, can't swallow that. You got to shake up some things. You got to get some energy. You got to get some emotion back somehow. Get some complacency. What can we do? How can we do some things different? And those things we got to figure out and try to get some things added back in this thing, and at the same time try to figure out where's Tavion at. What's going to be his ability to be effective? And I don't know that. And we all know there's no way you can be the same with that mask on. How does he handle it? I've seen some guys can handle it. Some guys can't handle it. Some guys really have a hard time playing with it. But I do know this, if anybody can handle it, he's a tough young man, and he'll try to fight and push through it. One more, I got you. Yep.
Rick, I wanted to ask you about Josh and Mustafa. They come back and you can see the raw emotion, but is it kind of for them what they're going through, what players go through in October or November? Or is that accurate or not?
It's 100% accurate. For Moo, it's even worse because he hadn't played for 2 years. Moo, it's been 2 years since he did anything competitively. It's bad enough not doing anything, like Josh coming straight from high school, having to learn. And again, with Josh in the fall, Josh wasn't eligible. We weren't able to push him the way you got to push him. Probably couldn't have handled it not being eligible in the whole deal. He was more just, let's get through what we can get through and be on that gold team. It's not fair for neither one of them to be thrown in this situation and for us to expect out of them what we know we can eventually get. And we haven't got it from them. We need it from them. We need to find ways, 6, 7, 8, 9, those are the guys determine how good you are. Everybody 1 through 5 is good. But those guys that can come off that bench, because that's a different role for most of these guys. 6, 7, and 8. How much productivity can you get from those guys? Those are the guys that are difference in winning and losing. They ain't 1 through 5. 6, 7, and 8. With us, 9. When you get some productivity there, then you got something. It's very obvious we got to get more productivity there again. It just, you can't as a coach when things ain't going good. You got to be able to put another ingredient in to change the flow of what's going on some and be able to add to and not take away. And we just got to find ways to get better at that, Mike. But it's hard on both of them at this time of the year, in particular the schedule they've been thrown into. They got thrown right into the meat of it. So it wasn't easy for them. But both of them are good people. They got good attitudes. And we just got to help them try to overcome the situation they're in the best we can at the situation we've put them into. We've put them into this. Is that it?